Aliens, where SETI astronomers can find them. SETI, or Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, has been an ongoing endeavor for many decades. In the early days, it was expected to be a quick success, so much so that national governments even helped fund these projects. Like the moon race, there was something of a Find ET race. All that is gone now. Government funding has virtually evaporated around the globe. The explanation is simple: no one likes a perpetual failure. The few remaining SETI efforts have to count on private funding to scrape along. Well, the objective of this article is to come to the rescue of the last of the SETI astronomers, to tell them where they can find ET so that they can regain the world's respect. That last sentence was not meant to be cynical. As noted in my article Decoding Book Resurrects the Ancient Astronaut Theme, author Morton St. George claims that some of the prophecies of Nostradamus are of alien origin, and that those prophecies tell us how to calculate the galactic coordinates of where ET came from. In a follow-up interview, I posed the following question to St. George: do you agree that contact with intelligent aliens could be of immense importance to humankind? He agreed. Then I asked, do you agree that this is more important than your selling a few copies of your cryptic thinking book? He agreed. This article will be a little longer and a little more technical than the others. According to St. George, 3 prophetic stanzas combine to provide information about E.T's location. The first of these is stanza number I-81. Here, the first 4 words of the 4th verse are the most relevant: Kappa, Theta, Lambda, Mors. St. George says he has an etymological dictionary that defines Mors as the bite of a scorpion. Consequently, Kappa, Theta, and Lambda are the names of 3 stars in the tail section of the constellation Scorpius. Note that the use of Greek letters for star names postdates Nostradamus. It's a star arrow, and Lambda is the arrowhead. Elsewhere, the prophecies name 3 cities to form an arrow circling around the globe. Thus, St. George believes the 3 stars should be viewed as points on a sphere. Where does the star arrow point? St. George says he followed the star arrow upwards on a star map and it hit or passed close to a dark cloud called Barnard 72, for which he already had other indications. So that's the answer. ET came from or near Barnard 72. But we're not done yet. We're looking for precise coordinates. The second stanza is numbered 432. According to St. George's decoding, this stanza tells a story. Once upon a time, Triton, Pluto, and Charon formed a triple planet system with a distinct orbit around the Sun. Then one day, the aliens came along, grabbed hold of Triton, and pushed it into a retrograde orbit around the planet Neptune. En route to Neptune, Pluto and Charon hung on for a while, then broke loose and drifted off into a new orbit. When did this happen? St. George says the aliens were here in 580 AD, so that would be his guess for the date of these planet manipulations. I mentioned that I had read on the internet that Pluto has been downgraded, that it is no longer considered a planet. St. George responded, I believe that was because they found that Pluto didn't clear away debris in its orbit. But since 580 AD, a contemporary date in terms of solar system history, Pluto in its new orbit would have made only a handful of complete orbits around the Sun, hardly enough time to clear away much debris. In any case, the astronomers got it all wrong. What they should really be looking for is Triton's original orbit, a cleared-out orbit with no planet in it. And I doubt that we're talking about an orbit at the outer edges of the solar system. Triton's original orbit may have been closer to the Sun than Neptune. They need to figure out where Triton could have been in 580 AD, then they will know where to look for that orbit. Why did the aliens move Triton? A display of power? St. George remarked that the star arrow only provides longitudinal coordinates. We also need to know the latitude. The planets have to be in the right position at the right time. And the 3 stars too, for that matter. The last stanza of the 3 stanzas is numbered 433. It begins, Jupiter closer to Venus than to the Moon, appearing in full whiteness. According to St. George, Earth and Jupiter would have to be pretty much on opposite sides of the Sun for this to be true, and the full Moon, more likely seen from the alien planet than from Earth, serves as a timer. The alignment is alien planet, Sun, Moon. The next line of 433 goes, Venus hidden under the whiteness Neptune, discovered more than 200 years after the death of Nostradamus. Note that there's no of between whiteness and Neptune. Meanwhile, the French words following hidden, used elsewhere in the prophecies to cryptic ends, sous la banqueur, allows the extraction of Uranus. Thus, the whiteness, partial rather than full, is Uranus, not Neptune, and we have a second alignment, alien planet, Uranus, Venus. 433 has one more line, from Mars struck through the white granary. Since Neptune was left hanging at the end of the preceding line, it should come into play here, meaning Neptune from Mars struck through the white granary. According to St. George, the white granary refers to a star cluster called the Pleiades, which happens to lie at the opposite side of the sky from Barnard 72. Until recently, St. George thought the planetary arrow to Barnard 72 commenced with Mars, so he not yet had a chance to check out if a Mars-Neptune-Pleiades alignment or a Pleiades-Mars-Neptune alignment is even feasible. Overall, there are only a limited number of possibilities. 433 gives us two inner planets, Venus and Mars, and two outer planets, Uranus and Neptune. Mars lines up with Neptune to hit the Pleiades, and Venus lines up with Uranus to hit the alien planet. Depending upon the Pleiades direction, Uranus and Neptune need to be together on the same side of the solar system or on directly opposing ends of the solar system. Also remember to check that you are viewing a full moon from the alien planet, and that Jupiter is closer to Venus than the moon at the same time. When the skies and planets are in constant motion. In what year does all this happen? St. George is convinced that the date of the given configuration should somehow or somewhere be provided in the prophecies. Other than the stanza number 433, we have 580, 700, 703, 882, 883, 1204, 1559, 1571, 1607, 1609, 1649, 1666, 1689, 1690, 1700, 1727, 1781, 1813, 1832, 1858, 1859, 1861, 1928, 1952, 1955, 1979, 1982, 1999, 2001, and 2006. The years 1571, 1607, 1781, 1859, and 1982 were astronomy related. St. George suspects one of the later years is more likely mainly because astronomers may not have accurate data the position of the outer planets in earlier times. We have to assume that they want us to get it right, and precision is clearly required here. 2006? What happened in 2006? St. George replied, absolutely nothing. 2006 was a second, inferable date in a London catastrophe stanza. The date does not necessarily have to come from an astronomy stanza. It can be provided elsewhere. Please excuse the digression. My final question was, do you realistically expect SETI astronomers to take you up on this coordinate stuff? St. George responded, yes. It would be foolish of them not to. The way they're going now, their odds of finding ET are not even 1 in a billion. If my theories merely reduce the odds to 1 in 1,000, their chances improve immensely. Moreover, I think they've forgotten, SETI was originally based on the premise that there are lots of intelligent civilizations out there, which in turn implies that at least one of them should have succeeded in exploring the entire galaxy by now. So there you have it, SETI astronomers, go forth and become famous, work out the coordinates, point your radio telescope there, and tell the world you heard from E.T. If you like the video, just hit the subscribe button below. Share and like for more videos weekly. Thanks.